Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Martin Dreyfus Show and welcome back to our continued coverage of the Russia and Ukraine conflict. The breaking news today is that Germany has helped arm Ukraine and has gone beyond the economic sanctions of the world. So without any further ado, we're going to get into the very first video posted about this breaking news.
Richard Barron's there. Now, a significant story is breaking tonight regarding Germany and the supply of weapons to Ukraine. Our security and defence editor Deborah Haynes is here in Kiev. So what have Germany decided to do?
Well, Germany, which remember was the country that didn't back sending lethal aid to Ukraine up until this conflict, has just announced that it's going to send 1,000 anti-tank missiles and 500 Stinger missiles, which are the sort of surface-to-air missiles that a soldier can carry and launch from his shoulder. It's a huge, significant reversal of policy by a country that has until now resisted lethal aid for Ukraine, something that the UK, the US, Canada had been doing, providing these anti-tank weapons, ammunition to the country. It's the single thing that Ukraine needs most.
That's very interesting to me. I haven't actually seen a ton of news about us sending our own anti-tank weapons over there. It does make sense, it just hasn't been in our news sphere. Now for Germany to join that, I'm wondering how far in Russia and Putin's mind this escalates things. Does this constitute NATO aid? Does this constitute intervening? Or is this still more the same? I'm unsure.
And it comes after the Defence Secretary, the British Defence Secretary, yesterday hosted a conference of nations. There were about 25 nations there. He spoke to two others as well, trying to get everyone to sort of sign up to give military aid, such as weapons and also medical supplies. And also the UK has said that it would help with the delivery of these supplies. Remember, this is a war zone. It's not easy just to get stuff in. But this is a huge development by Germany. And it also shows that how Russia's action...
That's something I wouldn't initially think about either, is the fact that the foreign country actually aiding in the delivery is another step that, you know, you could just see the headline, Germany sending all this weaponry, but it doesn't mean that they're actually going to get it there. So in a lot of cases, you know, that headline might mean a lot. In this case, it does mean a lot as Germany is transporting it, but that kind of just gives me more layers to look at when I'm looking at a headline like that, because there's definitely more to it.
Here in Ukraine, in defiance of Western warnings, has done something that since the Cold War has never happened in terms of galvanizing, really genuinely galvanizing the NATO alliance to actually do real action. They did do it after 2014 in terms of mobilizing forces more, spending more on their defense budgets. But it wasn't enough to deter Russia's malign activities. And so tonight, this real strengthening of policy and posturing by Germany.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hugely...
I don't know that, in all fairness, we've done much more than we did in 2014. I know Germany is sending these weaponry, and this lady who's probably more informed than I is saying that this is a step in a stronger direction. However, in the grand scheme, we still aren't sending troops, we're still not fully backing them, so I would still argue we're closer to 2014 than World War III. But again, that has nothing to do with my perspective, Germany's perspective, or Ukraine's perspective. It has everything to do with the man Vladimir Putin's perspective and how he views what Germany's doing right now in relation to, well, the rest of the world and what his decisions will be.
Significant political moment for Germany, isn't it?
It is. Germany traditionally it has had close ties with Russia, very, very important economic ties. So has countries like Hungary, like Italy, all members of NATO, but all with slightly different policies towards Russia than, for example, the Baltic states, which are very hawkish, and the UK and the US that have a very strong line about relatively strong line about standing up to Russian threats. threats. So yes, a significant move by Germany. Also, the Ukrainian president said that France too had said it was going to send in weapons. We've heard from the Netherlands that they're going to be sending in Stinger missiles. This country, the armed force.
That news means that the world genuinely is going to start backing Ukraine a lot stronger. So the old thought that this would be over sooner rather than later seems as though, maybe due to the fact that the Ukrainian people fought so well and that they have been holding off the Russians' at least main objectives to an extent, maybe that's why the world is being more keen, because it's not going to end as fast as we thought. So this breaking news to me signifies more escalation in this war worldwide, rather than any sort of de-escalation in Ukraine, Russia, or the world. So we'll see what happens.
Here have succeeded in slowing at least the Russian advance. We don't want to overplay it, but we heard from the British Armed Forces Minister this morning saying that Russia has not achieved its objectives, and this is an invading force. It has limited time to be able to achieve those objectives until its supplies run out.
That's very interesting. That's very surprising that their supplies could run out. But again, we take nothing that they said about Ukraine as truth, and because it wasn't about how Ukraine was a threat to Russia and all of these other things, even though there was the battles at the border for the past 8 years. However, these people are taking what they say about their supplies at face value. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't just assume what the defense ministry is saying in Russia is 100% true. I do believe that it's probably widely covered enough that we know that Russia hasn't completed its main objectives, but nonetheless, I don't know if their supplies are going to run out. What, soldiers are going to start starving on the front lines? I'll believe that when I see it.